Stage 5, Container Yard. This isn't so much a stage as it is just a gauntlet of enemies. What I'm essentially doing is killing mobs while moving towards the center of the stage. This honestly isn't all that much different than stage 1 or stage 6, but for some reason I find this stage to be way more tolerable. Maybe it's because I'm not confined to 1 or 3 platforms over a pit. Actually, it's because I'm not confined to 1 or 3 platforms over a pit. Now, unlike most of the other stages where I didn't really go out of my way for coin points, here I'm going to do just that. It's to make up for a point deficit that will happen during the boss fight. So I should probably talk about a couple of the enemies here. An evolved form of the flying bug enemies that block in the air now and can ram you out of the sky. The ram is a bit obnoxious because there's no real audio cue attached to it, making it a bit hard to punish off screen. Also, despite ramming you, they will find themselves hovering off to the distance, so it's best to toss a kunai at them to keep them in check. Now, this little spot here was a terrible idea in hindsight because I missed at least one of the block boys and landed in between two of them. I could have and should have been easily punished here, but thankfully they decided to back off. Now we have a new big boy enemy type, the electric big boy. He's mostly a non-issue here. As soon as I started charging, I had to dash backwards to avoid the incoming attack. I didn't want to take the risk of deciding whether or not he'll stay still, and the decision mostly paid off. Notice how the last enemy decided to block my attack, despite not being in a blocking animation. That's a very big trend with the blocking boys in this game. They just love blocking attacks and attacking me at the last minute and punishing me for it. Now here, I'm actually going to go out of my way to farm for these extra points at this mob specifically, because it's really just the best time to do so. Later, there's going to be a big enemy spawn here, so it's best to get these points out of the way where I don't have to deal with them. And now we're at stage 5, what better time is there to talk about the most annoying thing about the block boy attacks? Well, when they attack, whether they decide to ram at you or start punching the ground, their hitbox gets smaller. And I mean much smaller. At least with a ram attack, you can hit them out of it with the tip of your sword. When they start punching the ground, their hitbox almost disappears, and that goes for the lunging attack too. The only way to really hit them out of their punching attack or lunging attack is to hit them in the back. They still have a very small hurt box in the middle of their back, for some reason. Now, remember that big mob I was telling you about earlier? Well, this is it. It's not hard at all to deal with, but it's obvious to see here how they would have been an issue with me getting my points here. And now here we are, back at the center of the stage. I wanted to toss a kunai at the 4th bug that I killed, so he couldn't shoot me out of the sky, and I wanted to toss a kunai at the big electric boy. They have an attack where they can cover the ground and their body with electricity, and it's annoying to deal with, but thankfully the kunai negates all that, because the kunai is a great tool in this game. And here we are. Boss time. Oh, did I say boss time? I think I meant scrub time. Now, I could get under the boss and try to kick him 3 times, which would immediately get rid of its armor. Not that smart of an idea though if you're going for no damage and using Hatsuma, since he doesn't have an air kick. And the air kick is the easiest way to get rid of the armor, so I'm stuck dodging his lightning attack. Thankfully, it's not that hard at all to dodge. Once the little circle starts closing in on the ground, that's the best time to start dashing. Now here is where that point deficit came from. I used a scroll. Normally I would have avoided using one, but since I had the extra points to spare, I could chuck one. Now you're probably thinking, Jade, why don't you just use a kunai burst, kill these 4 scrubs, and Oko the boss? Well, boys and girls, that's why I call it scrub time. I hope you enjoyed watching this as much as I enjoyed running it, and until then, see you next time.